Hello, I'm Liselle Sambury. I'm a young adult author. My book, Blood Like Magic, comes out June 15th of this year. And today I am talking all about my future writer career plans and how I plan to go moving forward and like projects I'm working on and all of that. And I wanted to do this video because over here, you'll be able to see, I announced my new book deal. So you may have known it as #Haunted House Book, now publicly known as GOODREADS. I sold that book and a second untitled one that I'll talk more about later. So yeah, I sold more books. Wow. I was still shocked, but yeah, that happened. And so I've been shifting my author career plans this whole time, but I haven't been able to say anything until now. So it's been in my mind a little bit disjointed. So I was gonna just talk about like all the projects I have going on and like what I have planned and how I'm going to be moving forward. The first thing I want to talk about is writing full-time. So if you've seen my video over here, you would know that back in March of last year, due to COVID, I was laid off from my job. And so I became an accidental full-time writer. But you know, what I was getting for payments at that time was not like a full-time job payment. It was really like freelance. Writing was freelance. But that was all I had. So I was like, I guess I'm a full-time writer now, and I just focus on writing, and I've been doing that. And yeah, finding a full-time job, if I'm just to be frank about it, went very poorly, very poorly. It was really, really difficult for me looking for work. I was trying, really trying and not coming up with anything. And so when I got the deal for GOODREADS, I decided that maybe it was time to try writing full-time on purpose. And so that's what I've decided to do. I'm going to write full-time on purpose. So this is something I'm going to continue on with. There are a bunch of circumstances that build into this. The big one is that I was not having luck finding full-time work. I really was not. And that kind of led me to consider how my financial status was going. And so the deal made a big difference for that. But also during COVID, I have realized that my cost of living is actually very, very low. This is due to many factors. This is due to the fact that I live in Northern Ontario now, and our house's mortgage is very inexpensive. The fact that my partner has a full-time job, and when I was away in Toronto was covering the cost of the house anyway, and is just continuing, and I kind of contribute to things like groceries or like wherever I can essentially. And so my cost of living is very, very low. And so that's a big thing. The other thing is, of course, my advance. I calculated it up based on like when payments would be expected to come and that sort of thing. And it was very close to the amount that I was making working full-time anyway. And so that made me make the decision that, okay, I'm going to try this. And to me, this is very like ad hoc. So this is on a continuing basis. So for example, this isn't like, oh, I must do this. So like if I do this and in 2 years, I'm like, okay, no, this isn't working for me. I can't continue doing this full time. I have to go back to working a day job. Then I can go back to working a day job. And that's really the attitude I'm making towards this, is that this is on a rolling basis. I can continuously assess if this is working for me. But the big thing is I was always too afraid to try being a full-time writer because of like the horror stories of like, don't quit your day job, don't quit your day job, don't quit your day job, never quit your day job. And then I lost my day job and I was thrust into trying out what I had been so afraid to ever even attempt. And then in that situation, because I couldn't find a job right away, I was also kind of forced into continuously doing that. And I realized like, oh wow, like I could get by on not that much. But again, that's different factors. We're also like inside, so I'm not going anywhere, which I'm sure is also helping me save money. But that's been my decision, is to continue forward as a full-time writer. And so that is the context through which the rest of all of my writing career plans I'm going to talk about is through. Well, let's start out with the projects that I contractually have on the go. So I have my Blood Like Magic sequel, so the sequel to Blood Like Magic. My edits on Blood Like Magic are done, but I am continuing to do edits on the sequel, so I still have to do that, and that is contractual. Because the Blood Like Magic option is spin-offs and that sort of thing, and me and my agent we're not doing that right now. I talk about that in the ButcherBirds announcement video of getting that book deal, so you can check that video out if you want to hear more about that, but that's not really a thing that I'm working on right now. And so we're right on to ButcherBirds, so that's a project. I have to wait for my edit letter for that, so I'm not doing anything for that right now. I imagine that edit letter probably won't be coming until like 2020, like maybe late 2021 or early 2022. I'm not sure, but that is on its way, so I'm not worrying about that. But something I am working on and have been working on actually is my proposal for book 2. So because ButcherBirds is a standalone, I have another standalone as the second book on contract, so I have to submit a sample / proposal for the second book that my publisher will then approve as the like, yes, we approve this as the second book in your contract, and then I can go ahead and write that. So I have actually been working on that this whole time. I have some videos, I think I did over here, but I have vlogs where I'm like, I'm working on a second horror. And I think at the time I was like, I'm working on this so that I have something to submit in case they're like, what is the second book of the contract about? But at that time I had already sold, so I kind of already knew it was the second book for the contract, but I couldn't say so. So anyway, yeah, so that's what that second book is. I can't remember if I shared the title with you, but it's Bear Hunt, or #Bear Hunt is what I'm calling it. And so I have written the first 3, did I do 4? The first 3 chapters of that, I've written a synopsis and I've written a pitch letter. And so what I basically need to do is I just need to polish those up. So that is something I'm wanting to work on, getting that polished and getting that to my agent so that she can look over it and we can kind of finalize that, and then we'll be able to send it to the publisher. I don't know timing wise when we're supposed to send that. That book is for 2024 and it's like 2021, and I feel like I'm probably very, very, very early on this, but this is my personality, and so that's something I'm working on, the proposal for that. And I'm just doing the proposal because again, it needs to be approved before the full book can happen. So I'm not going to write the full book, because if it doesn't get approved, then I'll have written a full book for nothing. So that's that. And another project I've been working on that I talked about is #Dark Academia, which is my dark academia book that I started working on. And so the plans for that book is that I would like that, and I said it's a trilogy and I'm trying to plan the whole trilogy ahead of time. And so I would like that to be my option. So my option for the horror is like my next young adult book. And so that's what that is. So Dark Academia, the trilogy I'm planning, is so that I can present that as a proposal for those books. So then it would be a proposal for books for 2025, 2026, and 2027. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's what I would like to do. And so I'm going to be working on that. Probably not this year. It's just been like stuff is too packed this year and it's so far out. So I'll probably work on that next year. And so that's kind of the around my contract projects that I am working on or have started working on or will be working on. And so something else that I would like to work on that I've talked about this year is working on an adult horror. So because my books are young adult, from 2021 to 2024, I'm stacked with young adult titles. And so I cannot publish another young adult book in any of those 4 years. But I could publish an adult book or a middle grade book. And I have already established that I didn't do very well when I tried to write a middle grade book. And so my plans are to write an adult horror. I'm hoping to write the first rough draft of that during Camp Nano in April. So my plan is to plot that in March and then get to write the first full draft in April, which like how that will work between debut stuff and like sequel stuff, I don't know, but I'm going to try and make it work. And that way I'm hoping that we can get it polished to go on sub with it in late 2021 or early 2022, so that it can come out at the same time as one of my other horrors. Ideally, in an ideal world, I'd like to have it on sub late 2021, because then if we sold it then it could come out in 2023 along with my first young adult title. But yeah, so that's the plan. So that's another project I'm working on. And so those are all the projects that I have on the go, transparently open to you now. So those are the projects that I'm working on and will be working on. And yeah, and now that I'm a full-time author, that's why I'm trying to see if I could work on a schedule in which I could have 2 books out per year, 1 adult book and 1 young adult book. And so that's what I'm striving towards. So that's it for my author career plan, things I have planned for the future, projects I'm working on video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I post weekly on Tuesdays. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.